Kamala Harris administration said that they would support crypto regulation.
Happy that they're getting to thinking about crypto.
I don't buy it one bit.
Yeah.
First of all, she has not said anything about crypto up to this point.
Just to debunk that.
Telegram founder is arrested. We're going to get into some politics. There's also drama with Eigen. These are the things that we're going to cover on today's episode of Mick and Mike CryptoCast. Mike, looks like this title is going to stick.
At least for episode 2, right? We'll see what anyone comes up with episode 3.
Yes, we'll see. So far, so good. Yeah, I want to kick off with this big story that's coming out about Telegram and the founder being arrested in airport in France. What do you make of that whole situation?
It really goes back to, first of all, let's just not sugarcoat anything. Like, Telegram is critical to the crypto industry, right? Like, we just have all our conversations there. We do all our deals there. We have, so everything happens on Telegram in the crypto industry. So this is obviously something that we need to keep tabs on, and it's a big story. And also, of course, the Ton coin is very closely linked to Telegram. That's basically the whole go-to-market. So yeah, I saw that you could definitely see that big drop right around that when the shit hit the fan, right?
He's not directly affiliated with Ton, at least from my understanding, but obviously it's the same team, and so naturally, I think the initial instinct is for that token to sell off. I think it's a little bit of a dramatic, but you look at the overall sentiment. I was looking at this earlier on Polymarket. What are the odds of Powell getting released in August? And it was trending up and then it tanked again. So I don't know if this is something new that's coming out here as we record this. Perhaps maybe there's new information that's coming out, but what's interesting about all of this is that there hasn't been anything specific in terms of what he's being charged with. I think there's been like some general tone about some activities happening within Telegram, right? Because Telegram is, at the end of the day, a social media platform and people exchange information. And there's not always going to be good guys on a platform. And it seems just from the initial story that authorities just don't like some of the activity that's happening on there. And, because he's the founder, he's held responsible. And to me, this is, is this a crime, or is this like a stronger point that the government is looking to make against, some of these founders that are coming out with platforms that, people are able to freely express themselves in however way they want, whether we agree with it or not. So this to me is I know for a lot of folks in crypto, a pretty big deal. And everyone's now talking about, okay, they took down TikTok, now Telegram, and X is next. I don't really know if TikTok and Telegram, you can put them in the same bucket, so to speak. And that's maybe a topic for a different conversation. And I don't think that all of a sudden they're going to go after Elon. I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration. However, if you're a founder in crypto and you're seeing this news, and you are somebody that is resistant to censorship, right, which a lot of people in crypto are, it kind of makes you think, does it make sense to be doxxed, right? There's a lot of positives. I'm sure you being on the VC side, you see some of those positives, but as a founder, this is something that you probably have to think about. Like, do I really want my name out there? Do I want to be publicly known? Because if you look at Bitcoin, you can't go after anybody. I'm wondering if we knew who created Bitcoin, if they would be in jail now, right? But nobody knows who is the founder, and so it kind of makes you wonder: does it make sense to stay anonymous?
Yeah, there's so many layers to the story and so many arguments to be made, right? Like, thinking about going back to the Tornado Cash, right? Is code free speech? Is kind of the quintessential question, right? Can you can you build a platform? Are you, as the builder of a platform, responsible for what happens on that platform, whether it's, the transactions that go through the platform, or the conversations that are on that platform? And I used to work for a privacy protocol. We've invested in privacy protocols. Like, I think most of us believe that privacy is a human right, and I think most of us will stand on the side of, like, it's the builders. They're building just a tool, and they are not responsible for what happens on the tool, because for the most part, good things are happening on the tool, and you may have a few bad actors that do some bad things using those tools. So, I mean, it comes down to that, and you're going to have these different jurisdictions that treat these applications differently. I think it's just it's a shame that things like this are happening, in our industry for tools that are so important in the industry, and it's a tough go. But I also think there's so many questions about this particular case of Pavel Durov and Telegram that are, so much speculation out there. Why is he in France when he knows that, he's got there's a warrant out for his arrest? There's the whole, I don't know, the backstory with Russia. There's so many layers to this story that it's super interesting to, as the news keeps coming out. A lot of it's going to be speculation, but it's certainly a super, super important story for all of us to follow as things progress.
Yeah, and it would be interesting to see what exactly he's charged with, because again, at this point we don't really know. We're all just speculating, and it's easy for us to kind of pass judgment right now, but we don't know. We'll stay tuned for that. Moving on, this is something else that I'm thinking about. Well, right now in the United States, the presidential election, we're getting ready to get into, like, the phase of the debate, and this is a topic of conversation, getting into this election. And I think censorship resistance, this is something that is important for a lot of folks in crypto. And yes, there are people that are one issue voters and some are not, but people really need to take a hard look into, the candidates and figure out, do I feel safe under this administration? And so, stepping into a little bit of the politics, I saw that the Kamala Harris administration, that they came out, they said that they would support crypto regulation. I'll chime in on my thoughts on that, but I would love to kind of hear yours first.
I think there's progress here, right? A lot of people argue against how much progress that is, but I think you've seen a administration that has been clearly anti-crypto, and again, not sure who's pulling those strings there, to one that, with Kamala kind of avoiding the topic, to now things being said about the topic, right? So that's like, you're starting from a bad point, but that's progress towards at least a conversation, right? And to kind of put things in perspective, I think it's been maybe 5 weeks or so, maybe 6 weeks that she's campaigning. So, this country's got a lot of problems, like, and there's a lot of boxes that need to be checked and addressed. So, just happy that they're getting to thinking about crypto, open to having a conversation, to at least, say that they're looking at supporting these policies for crypto. So yes, they kind of started from the bottom in terms of what this current administration has done, but I think that there's been progress to get us to at least an open conversation, and hopefully further progress as we move forward. All right, what are your thoughts?
Well, this is a podcast about crypto, right? We're talking about Web3 here, so we're going to not focus on the other issues at hand. But I would say that this is why I love having this conversation with you, Mike, because you provided a completely different perspective than what I'm getting ready to share, which is I don't buy it one bit.
Yeah.
Okay, and the reason why I don't buy it is because, well, first of all, she has not said anything about crypto up to this point, right? So we're asking for words here, right? Not even actions, but let's talk about words. And we haven't seen anything related to crypto. Well, frankly, we haven't seen her speak yet, so that remains to be seen. Maybe once we get into a debate, maybe crypto could be a possible topic, which personally I think would be great, right? It doesn't matter who you're trying to, who you're voting for. But on the topic of crypto, I would love to hear from herself, from her, why is decentralization so important? And something else that caught my attention was, I saw this a few days ago, how she's considering rehiring Gary Gensler as Treasury Secretary if elected president. And we all know that people in the crypto community, we're not big fans of Gary Gensler, right? And so I don't know if this necessarily bodes well for her chances. If
just to debunk that, Mikhail, that article was written by a Republican running for Congress on a publication that was started by Republicans. So there was a lot behind that we all saw the headlines, and we all saw the crypto Twitter takes on that, which there were many, and obviously people were not were kind of up in arms in that. But yeah, that was like, I don't know really what the sources were, but there's clearly a big skew on that. But yeah, that would be absolutely catastrophic for everyone involved, right? Everyone involved, if that were true. 100%.
Yeah, and thanks for keeping me honest, right? So people that are listening and tuning in, take it as you wish, right? The information is out there. Now, whether or not there's validity to it, I think remains to be seen, sounds like, and more research needs to be done on that topic. But let's take that aside, right? Again, this is all just speculation. This is all words. Let's talk about action. We are also seeing that, with Trump, you are, first of all, okay, you have these NFTs, right? And whether you are a fan of NFTs, whether you believe in his specific NFTs, I'm not going to go into that. But just the fact that he is actually, building in this space, I think it bodes well. Again, we're only talking about crypto here, right? I think it bodes well for crypto. And something else that I saw was that his son is coming out talking about creating a platform,
DeFi,
an alternative to banking. So it's this whole like resistance movement, right? That's the narrative that it looks like they're trying to portray, whether it's accurate or not. But this aligns well with folks that are in crypto, because not just talking about it, but actually building in the space, right? Like I talk about building in the space in my job. By day I work in security, and I'm technically an employee, right? But I also run a community, a Web3 founders community. So it helps me to understand what's going on in the industry a little bit more when I can be on the ground level with a lot of these founders. And so I think that a lot of folks, whether this platform is going to be successful or not, I think that it bodes well for those folks that are in crypto that are going to heavily lean on their decision based on who's supportive of crypto or not. But what are your thoughts on this platform and just the overall landscape of things?
Yeah, I don't know. I know that they're, Trump and I believe like Don Jr. and Eric were promoting it. There's not much to know, at least at this point, but Trump, he pushed it out to his millions and millions of followers on Truth Social. I think they got over 40 or 50K people in their Telegram group almost immediately. Cool. Like, I don't know. It's cool. Like, we'll see what it is. Again, it's like things similar on both sides. Like, things will be said, things will be done during campaign season that could be true, could be not. So I think I think if this, hopefully there's actually something, real product behind it, and there's some utility behind it, which is obviously a good thing to see from someone who's got a lot of influence. But yeah, again, still remains to be seen what it turns out to be.
Yeah, and yeah, it remains to be seen, and it's going to be a tight race regardless. And there's a lot of things to consider here, right? We're focused primarily on crypto and Web3, but there's also a lot of other policies to consider, whether it be taxes, immigration, whether it be abortion rights. So there's just a lot of things that people are taking into consideration when making a decision. And what we talk about here is only one aspect of it. So with that said, I want to kind of change the topic a little bit and focus more around what happened over the course of the last week, which is around is great. It seems like it's great news, right? What do you call it? The Jackson Hole event, right, where Jerome Powell was speaking, had a very dovish sentiment around whether or not we will see our very first decrease in rates next month. Some people are saying 25 basis points, some people are saying 50, but now there's a lot more confidence in this happening with the overall just the sentiment of Jerome's tone. But I mean, I think this bodes well for higher risk assets like crypto, like the tech sector. But it remains to be seen. I think the real estate market, if we get under 6%, could look very interesting for a lot of buyers and sellers. What do you make of? What do you expect to happen?
Yeah, the tone certainly was very positive towards a rate, high probability of a rate cut happening in September. Like you mentioned, could be 25, 50 basis points. We don't know, but it sounds like the Fed believes that inflation is now kind of under control and warrants this rate cut. I still, anecdotally, you still feel a lot of people screaming and shouting about high grocery prices and still there's I don't blame them. There's the prices are still high. Obviously you got a lot of talk from the political talk about like price gouging and all that kind of stuff. But at least from the direction that the Fed feels that we need to go, the rate hike. The rate cut is gonna likely happen, which is great, right? We can combine that with combine the rate cuts. There's kind of ETFs are doing. Bitcoin is still doing decent. ETH still's got some a ways to go on the ETFs. There's at least progress in the crypto, the politics around crypto. I think that there's still too much uncertainty around the election for just the rate cuts only to like spark this massive bull run, right? I still think that people are going to play it a little bit close to the vest until we know what happens in November. So optimism, but cautious optimism for September. And then, depending on what we see happen in November, and then, beyond that, I think that's going to be a big determinant on where we see prices go.
I think a lot of people are excited about the potential of altcoin season. Right? That's when usually things start to run. Maybe there's a chance the money printer is going to turn on, and that's what everyone is counting on. That these higher, riskier assets will start to run. And so, jumping more into the Web3 side of things, less on the macro and more getting granular. There's a story that came out. I'll be honest, I haven't quite followed it very closely, but there's this controversy going on right now about Eigen Labs and how some of their employees have been incentivized, to have better relationships with some of the projects, and so they're in a way kind of being bribed, right, with token allocation. And this, we don't know yet if this has been confirmed, from my understanding, but this kind of brings up the whole conversation topic around just the overall transparency and just some shady shit going on behind the scenes, right? Let's call it what it is, if it's true. So I'd like to get your take. You talk to a lot of the founders, Mike. I mean, what do you make of the story? Do you think it's true? And even if it's not true.
Yeah, so maybe we just gotta give a quick overview of what that story is, because I think a couple of stories came out, right? So I think it was about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, right? The story came out that employees of Eigen Labs, I believe, anyway, people who work on EigenLayer, like they've accepted like millions of dollars in airdrops from some of the other projects that they partnered with. And, EigenLayer is this, shared security where a lot of projects are really using their protocol to power their own protocols, right? So, so there's a ton of value that EigenLayer is providing here. So, some teams said that they've sent their token to EigenLayer employees as like a thank you. But there are other teams that said that it was just sent like a list of employee wallet addresses, and they felt like pressured to pay up. So I've definitely seen tokens change hands between projects, no doubt about that, right? Whether there's some kind of grant, to build on their platform, but I've never seen it like directly to employees, at least not in mine. Not in my experience, where like here's a list of employee addresses and then just give them directly to them, right? Like I've never seen that. Again, I don't know. There's tons and tons and tons of projects out there. I don't know if things can be done differently, but from the bunch of projects I've been involved in, I've never seen that. Anyway, EigenLayer denied the allegations, but then another thing last week was like EigenLayer employees in the U.S. were like publicly announcing that they access these airdrops, like on Twitter, which of course, we can debate on whether or not airdrops should be legal in the U.S. I think most of us would like them to be legal in the U.S., but there's securities laws. But like, at this time, it's not kosher. So yeah, overall, it's just, I don't know. It's maybe it's just a little bit of a misinterpretation of how things are done that are a little bit differently than other projects do. Maybe there is some shenanigans going on there, a little bit of bribery. I don't know. Obviously, EigenLayer denied the allegations, and yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say. What the true story is.
It is tough to say, and personally, I hope that it's not true, just because the technology has been very much anticipated. A lot of people in the community are excited about EigenLayer, but whether or not this is true, I mean, I do believe that some of this stuff happens, and it does make me wonder how inclusive is crypto at the end of the day. We have this whole narrative about it being very inclusive. The unbanked can, essentially become financially free, yeah. And you look at the conferences alone and how much money you have to spend just to go to one of these conferences to get some of this information. Yeah. It's a lot of money, right? Not the everyday person cannot go and attend these conferences. And I'm speaking from experience, and I know you've experienced this as well because you attend these conferences. It's very important for us in the industry that we're in our specialty to be part of these conversations. But the everyday person, if they want to have access to some, not even insider information, but information from just ground zero, you're very limited in terms of what you can get. And you may think, okay, well, I'm just not going to invest in some of these altcoins. I'll invest in a meme coin. But meme coins are not much different, right? Meme coins, the success of them is driven by community coming together, right? Community of KOLs that are able to really show that social narrative. And so if you're not part of that, you're out of luck too. And so it does bring up this, question: is crypto as inclusive as it is, thought to be?
I think the tools and the infrastructure is definitely moving us towards the right level, a higher level of inclusivity. But I still think there is a lot of information asymmetry from the people who are in it every day, versus the people who, may not be in it every day. And, it still a lot of these deals that are being made, are like many other industries are based on relationship building, that kind of access to information. So yeah, certainly I don't think you're ever gonna find this kind of like utopian world that everyone has the just same amount of access to all resources and all information. But I at least think I agree with you that there certainly now is still information asymmetry. But I think in terms of like what we're building, the tools that we're building, there are we're moving towards at least being able for more and more people to access crypto. But certainly there's still a lot of back channeling going on, no doubt about that.
And when they do receive information, half the time it's fake. Did you see the story, Mike, about McDonald's Instagram account getting hacked? And these crypto scammers that they claim they stole $700,000. So, I mean, like retail can't catch a break. Like when you think you have like inside information, it's reputable. Like, nope, not so fast. They've been hacked. And yeah, this doesn't necessarily paint a pretty picture either.
Especially when you get McDonald's. If you hack into McDonald's and push that, whatever it was a Grimace token, it's definitely not a good look. And you got to look at things from like all sides, right? We've created these open permissionless systems that are supposed to provide more access to those who typically have not had access in the past. And you're going to get, going back to kind of the tools of, Tornado Cash, Telegram, the tools that we build here, you're going to get people who use them for good. You're going to get people who use them for evil. And I just think you just have to be your head's got to be on a swivel with this stuff. And you just have to really like take a closer look at some of these things that these offers that may fall onto your lap to get rich quick or whatnot, right? And I think that's another part of it is kind of culturally there are a lot of people who are looking to get rich quick, find that 1,000, 10,000x, and part of that is because money's being inflated, life's tough right now, right? So there's like all of these things that snowball into into these behaviors that happen. So it is it's not a good look at all, but hopefully we can kind of just move forward from it, and it's continue building the good tools to allow more access to as many people across the world as possible.
And there are a lot of people focused on the tech, to your point. And recently, there's been some good bit of funding that came out. I saw that Story Protocol raised a lot of money. There's a Corn L2 network, apparently. Fabric cryptography. I mean, I'll be honest, I heard about Story, but Corn and Fabric, I personally have not heard of. Curious to know, like you, as somebody that lives and breathes, this side of crypto. I mean, what do you make of these funding rounds, and like, what does it say about the overall direction that we're going from a narrative?
Yeah, there's a couple of things going on. Like these are three very different protocols. So Story is an L1, I believe, that it lets creators register their IP to track its use and protect their rights. So essentially, I think it's very important in the age of AI, where now you've got creators who are creating images or videos that may be used by ChatGPT or other AI tools, image and video creation tools that are not compensating these original creators for their work, right? So I think that's really important in this whole as AI continues to proliferate. We really need those guardrails to be able to compensate the people who are creating the original works of art. But you know what's really interesting? There was a kind of change. There was like a strange by one of the founders of Story. It was like, for some reason, like unprompted, they were like hating on like Barachain and it was a strange, like, out of nowhere. It just, we raised money and we're gonna poop on other chains that raised a lot of money. I don't know what was going on there, but anyway, I like the tool. I think it's important in this age of AI. Little tangent there. Corn is interesting because I think there's this, we've made a few investments in the Bitcoin space, and we all know that the Bitcoin ecosystem is growing rapidly. Combine that with the whole like WBTC debacle, where BitGo announced that it's planned to like change custody of WBTC over to like a joint venture that involves Justin Sun. So Bitcoin, there's a lot of things happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem on many levels, and you're seeing kind of a convergence of Bitcoin and Ethereum as well with the L2s. Like there's a lot of EVM compatible Bitcoin L2s, right? There's Core, Botanics, Bob, BVM. Rootstock was actually like the OG EVM compatible Bitcoin L2. So like now Corn is kind of like taking a different approach. Most of the big Bitcoin L2s are like EVM compatible. Now Corn is like bringing a version of Bitcoin over to Ethereum to be used as gas. So I think we're just seeing a lot of creativity on using Bitcoin as a like a collateral as asset instead of just holding it. So we're looking at DeFi. You're looking at all these stable coins on Bitcoin, and also using creative uses of Bitcoin as collateral in other ecosystems. So that's a big trend. I think we're going to continue to see a lot of experimentation there, and that convergence of Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Still a lot more to discover there. There's a lot of people that come out and say that they don't really quite understand the appeal of Bitcoin, DeFi, and so I think that there's a lot more to be learned on that side of things. But it's always interesting to kind of see where the money is going. So those are very interesting notes. And going back to your point about Story, I think that and other protocols that are coming out to help protect IP is extremely important, and it kind of shows the importance of merging AI with blockchain technology. And before the narrative was blockchain needs AI in order to survive, and now we're starting to see more use cases where we're not so fast. It's the other way around as well, which bodes really well for our industry. Seeing that, and I think the more AI grows, which is definitely going to happen. We'll see how NVIDIA earnings, how they do this week. But obviously the industry as a whole is growing. And with that, I think just blockchain technology and the need for it will also continue.
Yeah, I think there's like two major categories, right? Like AI helping blockchain, which I think, we're looking at all the data analysis that AI can do and help and all the data on blockchains that AI can help analyze, assess, garner insights from. But yeah, I think the longer term problems that AI creates can certainly be helped by blockchain. I think those are going to be kind of like I mentioned, longer term solutions, because everyone talks about all the doom and gloom that AI can kind of take over the world, and how much they're controlled by centralized parties now. Certainly the decentralization of AI is something that's going to be really important in the long term.
Who knows? Maybe with the earnings coming out for NVIDIA, that could also be a catalyst for the AI narrative in crypto, which again, everything is coming together. It's an election year. Rates are coming down. The Nvidia's been doing well. So there's a lot of different catalysts potentially for the rise of, you know, what many refer to as altcoin season, right? So stay tuned. This was a lot of fun, Mike.
Yeah.
Episode 2 in the books, and we'll do it again
Absolutely,
in a couple
man.
of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, lots happening. It's going to be able to have a lot to talk about over the next few months. So awesome to do it.